I'm going to start this video by saying that the past life that I'm referring to in the title doesn't actually refer to what the past life is in reincarnation, what I lived before I was born, but I mean past self and past life is in the life that I used to live 3 years ago, or a year ago, even 2 years ago. And I want to discuss this because I feel that there is a confusion between who I was versus where I was or how I was, and how those are two very different things. You know, I confuse myself with how I yearn for the past, how I miss the past, and how I want to go back there. Not literally time travel back there, but I want to feel those feelings that I felt. And I try to make conclusions about what that is. And it's usually the difference between the environment and yourself, the external world and your internal world, your past life and your past self. And life referring to lifestyle in general and how things were, the daily activities that you went through and how you processed that as you, as yourself. And just a few years ago, I was living in a very different environment, and subsequently, I was a very different person myself, I think. And I think that I need to learn to distinguish between that because what if I'm still the same person but in a different environment? I don't think that's really possible. But at the same time, it was also true that in that same environment I could have changed. But how would I know? How would I be able to tell that I changed if everything else around me stays the same? That's a good question that I cannot answer. But what about the inverse, which I just mentioned? I'm in a new environment now, but am I the same person? I think it's easier to say that no. I think it's easier to say that if you change environments, you're going to become a different person than staying in the same environment but becoming a different person. I think if you stay in the same environment, externally everything is the same, but you change yourself internally. Not everything is going to seem the same. You go to the same places, but it feels different. You feel different, and therefore everything else feels different because you are in your own subjective reality, and through your own perspective, through your own eyes, something has changed, and that could be you yourself. The reason why I brought this topic up is because I was just lying down and I was thinking about my past. And when I say past, I'm not meaning like crazy past. I'm still young. When I say past, it's very recent, like years ago when I was still in high school. And I think about how I yearn for that, how I miss it, how I want to be there again. And I'm thinking, is it that I miss my lifestyle back then? Do I miss the high school life of being around a lot of people? Or do I miss who I was? And I don't think I miss who I was. If anything, I think I'm a better person now. I'm definitely more mature as you age. I can think better. But I was definitely a more social person back then. And part of the bigger thing that I'm yearning for, I think, is the social aspect of things. Being in high school and being surrounded by people 5 days a week, different people, talking to people, friend groups, and everything. I don't have that anymore. And I'm isolated. I go out, but I'm still alone. And I feel very drawn into myself, much more than I was back then. Because back then I could openly express myself and everything. And that could have been my past self, someone who was very open. But now, as I've made a few videos about this, I'm more withdrawn and embracing the loneliness. And that's the reason why I'm able to think about these things, because I'm always so curled up in my own mind thinking about these things. So now I have this dilemma of if I want to feel that again, do I chase the environment or do I chase myself? Because if I feel like I have to go back to that past self that I was, it's almost like a regression. I'm going back to that person, even though there are things that I've improved upon. But at the same time, there are things that I've let go, things that I feel are missing. And it's impossible for me right now to deduce whether that's a personal thing or an environment thing, something in that place that I don't have here, that I can't get here. And inversely, there are things that I have now that I didn't have back then. But it's pretty silly to imagine that because it's pretty weird to imagine the past with future things then go the other way around. It's weird to explain, but I can't think about it that way. And maybe I'm just fooling myself and playing mind games when all of this doesn't really matter, when the past is only the past because it's over. And right now, as I speak, maybe years from now, this is the past. And even though I'm living fine now, I'm gonna want it again in the future. And maybe regardless of life or environment or yourself, I think maybe there's just a natural yearning for the past. I think maybe we're inclined to be nostalgic, and there's just something natural about wanting to go back and wanting to feel the things that you felt before. And I think I've made videos about this, how you can never really feel the same feelings again. How, just like that philosophical saying, you can never step into the same river twice. If I were to go back there today, to that same place with the same people, it would not be the same at all. Because, yeah, maybe the environment's a little the same, but I'm not the same, they're not the same. Nothing really does stay the same either way. And I think maybe what I'm doing here is something foolish because I want things to be the same. Or I want things to reverse. I want things to reverse and change. Something changes, but I want to reverse it, which is a bit silly. I don't know. Maybe it's just a human thing. Maybe it's a human thing to want to change backwards. You know, ignoring the regressing aspect of it. Like if I go backwards, I'm gonna inherit. I'm gonna go back to the same mistakes that I made. But that's another reason why you should walk into the future with pride, because I carry those mistakes around with me. But I feel like I need to go back at the same time. It's confusing. It's a lot of contradictions. I realize most of my videos are actually just contradictions within myself that I'm trying to rationalize. But this whole thing with the past, I don't know. It's easy to say that, yeah, just put the past behind you. It is behind me. But I want something from it. I want to go back. I want to feel those feelings again, even though I really can't. And I was also thinking as I was lying down there, I don't, maybe I don't want the exact feeling that that gave me. I don't want the exact life that I lived, the exact environment, or I don't want to be my exact self. But something in that time period gave me something that I don't have right now. And that's the formless aspect of it, the thing with form and formlessness. You know, if I had a lot of friends back then, that's the form. But what was the meaning behind all of that? I think it was companionship and the feeling of being in a group, being valued by other people. I don't have that anymore. Not to the extent that I used to have. And so I've had this confusion in my mind that I want to go back to that environment because it makes me feel this way. When what I really want, I don't really want the environment necessarily, but I want that feeling. And I think this is what it is. We're chasing feelings that, since we've already experienced in the past, we want it in the past. When in truth, those same feelings you can get right now into the future. Just because you haven't experienced it, and it's a new thing. So if I say I want to feel companionship again, for example, I yearn for the past because it's familiar. I yearn for the past because I've already experienced it, so it's convenient and I already know what it feels like, so I want to go there again. But I confuse myself in saying that I want that environment, I want those same people, when what I really want, the deeper desire, is companionship and friendship and being around people. When I can get that exact same thing today by socializing with the new people that I'm around. But that's a bit more daunting. That's a bit more scary, isn't it? But I think beyond all the layers of forms and other people and things like that, the deepest desire is to socialize and to have people around you. And I think I've framed that desire onto my own past because it's what I know. When I can really get that today, it's just a lot more difficult. And so that was just an example. The thing with companionship. There are a million other things that I can name. A million other things that I had that I don't have anymore. That I framed the past because I've experienced it. When really, I just need to identify what the deepest desires I have. And instead of framing it on the past, I need to look forward to it. I need to have a future oriented mindset where I'm seeking these things today. I'm seeking them with what I'm going to do in the future rather than yearning for the past. I think that's what it is. And, I think it's inevitable to have some kind of attachment to the past. I think we're always going to have that. Going to anchor ourselves in what has meant the most to us over time. But I don't know. I feel like this whole thing with past life and past self and differentiating between who you used to be and where you used to be. I think I'm only scratching the surface with what I'm thinking, and I don't think I'll be able to unwrap that right now. Maybe after more alone time, more dreams, more conversations and thoughts, I'll be able to think about that. But more importantly, reconcile myself with the fact that I can't live the past and I can't replicate the past, but I can feel new things that in the future will make a better past, and that doesn't make any sense, you know. But that's weird. If you get what I mean, like the past was only good because I was living it better now, and it's really weird to talk about. But I only yearn for the past because at that moment in time I was enjoying it, and I'm not enjoying myself right now, and that's why. But if I were enjoying myself right now, and I skipped a few months forward, I'm gonna yearn for that. So it's a dilemma, and I don't know. It's just this time thing. Time is difficult. Time is an impossible topic to grasp, you know. So I don't know. Just talking to myself again, and I think that's all for this video. It's a weird thing to be talking about, but I don't know. I feel like I have made peace with my past, but as I said, there are things that I want to feel again, certain sensations that I haven't felt since, and I want to find those. I want to find things that can make me feel that way, or something new, something newer, because we're always trying to feel different things, you know. We're always chasing that subconsciously. And yeah, I think that's all for this video. I'm going to see you next time.